Have you ever been working at your 9 to 5 and pondered the idea of maybe retiring early and exploring the world? Have you ever considered what life would be like if you retired a few years or decades sooner than you would have done otherwise? Be honest, we all have at some point. While early retirement is romanticized all over the internet, there are significant drawbacks to consider. From having our investments last longer to a potential identity crisis, there are many different areas to consider when talking about retiring early. Be sure to stick around to the end for the biggest area to consider. Number 5. Financial uncertainty. You might be looking at your financial statements at some point in the next few weeks, and you might try to calculate how long you could retire for if you did so today. While it's fun to dream about, there are those that actually do these calculations. Heck, maybe you do some calculations yourself and find that if your investments stay the same and generate a consistent income, you might be able to retire 10, 15, maybe even 20 years sooner than you'd expect. Fantastic, right? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. First, it's ridiculous to think that the market won't change at all. It's constantly changing, with ups and downs a regular thing over the last several decades, and will continue to fluctuate as time goes on. Inflation is also something we need to consider, especially after the period of high inflation we've experienced after the pandemic. Costs for living have gone up, from food prices to gas, housing, etc. We live in a time where things are substantially more expensive than they were even a short time ago. Let's not forget the rising costs of healthcare. With the baby boomers retiring and needing more long-term healthcare, the systems in place are simply too overwhelmed to take on the extra burden. Costs of medicine, surgeries, basic checkups, etc. have all gone up in price and will continue to do so as more people retire. With all the increasing costs we are facing, it may get to a point where your savings and investments simply can't keep up with it. You may find yourself short on cash, and you might have to turn to employment to help stabilize your financial situation. If that happens, why retire now when you might have to work again? Number 4. Health considerations. We briefly touched on this earlier with the potential increases in healthcare costs. As time passes and more people retire, there will be an increase in demand for healthcare, increasing the cost for everyone. You aren't excluded from this either. As we age, our bodies begin to break down, and we'll need extra assistance from professionals to help take care of our aging bodies. Chronic diseases will pop up as we age, along with a decline in physical and mental health. As we get older, our immune systems get weaker, enabling viruses and health problems to become more prevalent in our bodies. As we become less active as we age, our bodies can't handle what it used to when we were younger. If we retire earlier than anticipated, that takes away years that we could have been working and maintaining our physical health and mental sharpness. If you plan to retire early, it's important to set up and maintain a healthcare routine. Make sure your diet is dense in nutrients and good whole foods, and make sure you get plenty of exercise each week, about 45 to 60 minutes a day, 4 to 6 times a week. Yes, you can afford the time, you're retired. Number 3. Identity crisis. When you have conversations with others, either with friends, family, or strangers, the topic of what you do for a living inevitably comes up. When we are gainfully employed, we identify with our careers or what we do for a living. When we retire, that part of us kind of dies. Oftentimes, we lose a sense of who we are, or were, since we've identified with our work for so long. It becomes foreign to think that we aren't that anymore. Many people that retire have a difficult time trying to adjust to a new lifestyle. They are so used to waking up in the morning to go to work that waking up for no reason can be a shock to the system. It's one of the many reasons why there's a sudden uptick in the mortality rate around the age of 62, especially for men. When you hit retirement, whenever that may be, it's important to find a new hobby or discover new interests that you've always wanted to try. It will keep you busy and gives you a reason to get up in the morning. It may be an opportunity to volunteer and give back to the community. You might even find a new hobby that can help generate some extra spending money for yourself. Number 2. Social impact. Whether we like it or not, work is a major component of our social life. Yes, we go to work for a job, but many jobs are social in nature, as we collaborate with colleagues to get a project done, interact with the public, network with other industry leaders, among other things. When you hit retirement, a major part of your social life is lost. When we get old, our friends and colleagues retire with us, so there's the opportunity to do stuff together still, such as golf or go to dinner. If you retire 10 to 20 years sooner than everyone else, you're a bit stuck in the terms of socializing, as everyone else is still working while you're planting a new garden in your backyard. This can potentially lead to feelings of isolation as you're away from everyone else. This may also have an impact on your personal relationships. You may find that if you retire and spend more time with your loved ones, you might get driven crazy by them. You may miss the idea of leaving them for the day and reconnect after the work is done, rather than be connected to them 24/7. Again, use this free time to engage in different events around your community. You might want to volunteer at your local food bank, humane society, or other charitable organizations. You may also find a new hobby that will increase your social life with new individuals, such as meetups, art classes, or dance classes. Number 1. Unforeseen expenses. As mentioned before, inflation has really eaten into our purchasing power as of late. Housing costs, food prices, utilities. Even the prices of the Costco food items are going up. If you have a source of income from a job, as well as investment income, this isn't a major deal. But if you retire 15 years before you had to, you may not be able to rely on that pension just yet, especially if you retire before 50. You're down one reliable source of income, and you'll have to navigate your finances without it. That's not the only thing we need to consider. What is your plan if you have unexpected house repair bill? Maybe you needed a new water tank or a new air conditioner for your house. You may have to replace your car sooner than you expected and hadn't taken that into consideration. What would happen if you suddenly ended up in the hospital and had large bills to pay? Your employer may have had an insurance plan for you, but if you're retired, you may need to get insurance on your own. Another cost that you'd have to consider. What about your lifestyle that you want to live now, given that you have newfound time? Maybe travel more often, eat out more regularly, play golf more than twice a year. All these things cost money. Have you considered what you want to do? These questions all need to be answered, and many people don't have the answers for them. The reality is that too many people are simply unprepared financially to retire or can become unprepared if an unexpected cost were to come up. If you do decide to retire early, make sure you have a plan in place to help you with surprise expenses. Now, this video isn't trying to bash retirement. It's something we're all working towards. That said, retirement is a major milestone in our life, and we want to make sure that we are prepared for what comes ahead in these next few decades. If you aren't financially prepared or aren't ready to adjust your social life, you may want to put retirement off for a few more years, just to help bolster your investments and stave off complete social isolation. If you found this video informative, then be sure to check out my most recent video on why day trading stocks is a bad idea. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.